Hi, we're celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month here at Seward County Community College, and I'm here with Executive Director Teresa Randle of the SCCC Foundation. Teresa, how are you today?
Good. How are you, Phil?
Teresa, go ahead and give us a little bit of background about yourself.
Okay, so Teresa Randle, originally from Hugoton area, born in Mexico. We immigrated in 1995, but been involved with the college since my high school graduation as a livestock judging team for 2005 from 2005 to 2007. So, been in the ag side for quite a while. Married, have two little ones. We're both tied to the community, not only on the Seward County side, but also on a lot of community events and clubs and things of that nature. Um, you know, uh, Come from an immigrant family, just really truly enjoy all the opportunities we have gained from the Seward County Community College family, but also the fact that I think some of my roots have allowed me to uh, truly enjoy what the possibilities and everything that we had has given us to be able to grow in our careers. I have a agriculture economics degree from Kansas State University, 14 years of banking experience. So it's I really have truly enjoyed being able to learn all that. Um, that being said, that's pretty much me in a nutshell, I guess, in a roundabout way. So.
So now talk about how you got into livestock judging, and did your roots have anything to do with that to sort of go in? Did you guys live on a farm? Or did it just
Yeah.
sort of have happenstance that it just sort of happened?
Actually, it just kind of happened. It was they really enjoyed my public speaking and things like that as I took some classes on. So they saw, she can speak to people, and we can teach her how to judge some animals. So we need another person for our team, and I was very gracious for the opportunity. And I think in terms of my heritage, my parents were huge influences on making sure that we took full advantage of the possibilities we got, and were big supporters of our extracurricular activities as well as our education. So they saw that as a huge opportunity for me to learn something new, be part of something, and contribute to the school. So livestock judging kind of got on, as an alternate. Was able to. We did some national contests and we won, and so moving that, it allowed me the opportunity to get on the livestock judging here at Seward County with a scholarship, and continue my livestock judging career here. So that it was a little bit of a weird way on how to go about it, but it was. And now my in-laws do own a farm, and we do have that. But I have shown animals, mainly sheep and pigs, and kind of been that. We've been a little out of it for now a couple years since we've had kiddos, so we'll see how that transforms as they get older. So.
Did you have a love of animals growing up, or like it had like?
Not really, because we came from more of a urban setting.
Uh-huh.
But when we moved to Hugoton, Kansas, I mean, it is pretty rural. And my dad does work for the co-op, so I do have a lot more on the grain side experience than I did probably animal side. So I am very familiar with a lot of. I can probably tell you most of the owners of fields in the Stevens County area, just because he grew up spraying fields, and I was very familiar with that. So kind of chased him around growing up and making sure, and but not necessarily animals, a lot more just plain agriculture and agribusiness side of it.
So you basically grew up with ag over there, and is that what your father and did your mom, was she part of that as well?
Well, no, not really. She was a stay-at-home mom for the most part while we until we graduated, and now she's my daycare provider. So it's a great thing. But no, it's mainly my dad and my in-laws that have.
Talk about the influences of your parents out over there. Obviously, they've been at you for quite a bit. I can sort of tell.
Yeah.
Talk a little about them and the culture of them moving over here and you running over. What did they bring over from Mexico? Correct?
Yeah, we did. We came from Mexico. My mom actually is in a CPA, a certified CPA in Mexico. So my love and numbers probably came from her. And she's a hardworking lady, never stops. And so that she's probably influenced me a lot in terms of my work ethic and my, I guess, comprehension and number aptitude in terms of that. My dad is, he has a middle school education. So he's worked really hard. He's speaks 2 languages, able to read and write. And so he's a determined one. And I think when we moved here, I think they just wanted something better for us. And so we, as kids growing up, it was very much implemented in us that they took a big risk and a lot of sacrifice for us to get here. So it was one of those, as you grow up, and I think as an immigrant family, and a lot of immigrant children know, respecting your parents' wishes and, making sure that we kind of make all their sacrifice worth it. You truly do respect their wishes. And they were big about making sure we got an education and that we bettered ourselves. And I think we did. Both my brother and I are Seward County Community College graduates, K-State graduates. And I think their work ethic and their just respect for not only a family setting but in education, but also the respect for the U.S., the opportunities that has granted us here. So
a lot of things here is that a lot of people go in the cultural, but you've taken, I'm sure, a lot of the culture with you from Mexico. But at the same time, too, I would wonder whether or not people are kind of surprised by how well you speak, how well you have adapted. Your English is impeccable. And while you laugh at that, I think that a lot of people say, oh, you weren't born here. Do you get that sometimes?
I do, because we moved here in 95, so I would have been 9 at the time. So funny story, when we moved to Hugoton, Kansas, I could probably say there was maybe 10, 15 kids in our class that spoke Spanish. So I think that probably had to do a lot with it. We had an amazing ESL teacher that she was a tough cookie, but man, you only needed about 1.5 years of ESL because she was that tough, and she was very good. And I'm very thankful for that. I think I was still young enough that maybe my accent didn't, but I don't think I had an accent to begin with. Just because we came from Chihuahua, there's really just not, the accent's not very strong there yet. My parents were very strict about that. We needed to practice both languages, and we speak Spanish at home. You speak English at school. So I think that had a lot to do with it. But yes, that is, I do get a comment a lot about that you don't have an accent.
Now, did you know English when you came here to the States?
No,
really?
no,
Okay.
not a lick of it. I still remember, I think the first week of school, because it's very different. School here is very different. At least when we moved here, we moved from, a school where it was recycled books, the yellow papers where you write, to bonded books here, computers in the classroom. So very different. I think I cried the first week because I'm like, I don't even know how to use the restroom. We go to lunch. I don't like any of this food. As elementary school kids know, you have to eat your food. At least then you had to eat all of your food or you couldn't go to recess. And that was probably a tough time, but I think just the resilience of our parents enforcing, we could see that it took a lot for them. I remember for the longest time, my parents would carry little cards where they had written out the numbers. That way, if they had to write a check or something, or the translator calculator, I think if as a family unit, we could see each other working really hard for each other. So you just kind of sucked it up and did it. But yeah, it was tough. I mean, I would say for the first 18 months, it was a struggle. And there's some words now that still get me. And cinnamon is one of them. I have to think really hard about cinnamon and in other words. And so you just kind of think back, and if I get really angry, I do yell in Spanish.
Now, one here, obviously, liberal, Southwest Kansas, very, very Hispanic majority, has all the changes over there. How has that, and actually your cultural heritage, how has that sort of influenced you working here in this area?
I think as I've gotten older, I think the need, it's, I guess we grew up in a setting of you just need to make sure you make things better than when you got there. And so for me, coming back to Southwest Kansas, and especially when I first started working in the banking industry, I noticed that there was just a lot of gap and a lot of help that was needed. Not only language barrier wise, but just educational, because a lot of our, especially in our area, our immigrants come from a place where maybe the financial institution or the education is not there. So it's really hard to go from that to where all your money's going to the bank
Right.
or whatever. And so I think being able to provide that assistance, and it just makes you feel good about what you do on the rough days. So you kind of try to do a little bit more of that. So I think that has influenced a lot on how I go about my career decisions, what I go about and what I focus on and what I put my effort into it. As I've had kids now, it's always neat to see them, because they love being part of the Hispanic culture. And one of them looks a little more Hispanic than the other, but they love being able to go to abuelas, and they love going to quinceañeras. They love going to Spanish mass, and I think being able to include them in that, it's just been a pleasure for us. And then being able to help that community fully integrate into our liberal community, and being able to be supported, because we have a lot of things to offer. Vice versa, not only just the Hispanic community, but all the other immigrant nationalities that we have in liberal, which is very unique. We have a lot.
Very diverse.
The very diverse community. And I tell people, I'm like, I think that's so cool to be able to take your kids to different events where it's like, hey, there's all these different people. They might speak all the different languages, it might look different, but we all have the same common goal, trying to better ourselves, have a better community overall for our kids. And so I think it's pretty neat. So
great. Well, Teresa, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate everything that you do for the community and for the college. You had a wonderful story to tell, and we really do appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Phil.